As the garbage truck drives away with your weekly trash, have you ever wondered where it goes? The Glanbrook landfill site is the final resting place for most of the garbage that comes from the city of Hamilton. For those of you worried about the garbage piling up at the landfill, rest assured that Dennis Guy and the rest of the team at Waste Management take garbage very seriously. Join us as we take a tour of the Glanbrook landfill site to see where your garbage ends up. This is Daily Web TV. Today I'm speaking with Dennis from Waste Management, and we are going to take a tour of the landfill. Dennis, can you tell me what happens to the garbage once it's picked up from the curb?
Well, it's a great question. We're so used to putting it out and it disappearing. So the question, where does it go? From the truck, it goes to what's called a transfer station, where it's dumped onto a big floor called the tipping floor.
So why is it called the tipping floor? Is it a floor that's going up and down?
Well, not exactly. It's not the floor that tips, but the truck that backs in and tips.
Oh, okay. So we have our garbage and it's been tipped out on the floor, sorted through. What happens from there?
Well, a big loader, front end loader, picks it up, puts it into a bigger tractor trailer, so like a 53-foot regular trailer, hauls it up to the landfill, or what most people would call the dump.
So what happens at the dump? We're at the dump, the garbage is there.
Well, first things first, it gets weighed, right? We've got to make sure we're tracking what's going in, what's going out. So once the trucks go in over the scales, they go up to what's called the tipping face.
Okay.
And while the face doesn't tip, the trucks do. And so in order to get the waste out of the bigger trucks, they have walking floors. And what a walking floor is long metal slats that move back and forth in different sequences and just slowly inches the garbage out onto the tipping face. And then from there, it's called a compactor. What it does is it pushes the waste around, spreads it out over a certain area, and then rides over it about 3 to 5 times. And this compactor weighs just over 50 tons, so it's super heavy, hence a compactor, to compact it down into the ground, with huge metal wheels with big spikes on it that grind and crush the waste even further to get the best compaction possible.
Wow, so you're not just putting the waste in a field and letting it go.
No, it's much more engineered than one would think. Yeah.
Now, when you think of a landfill, what I think of a landfill, I'm thinking birds, and do you guys have that problem?
Well, we certainly have birds, but we have what I call the bird man, and he comes in 3 to 4 times a week with hawks, and the hawks scare the birds that are away that may be hanging around.
Can you tell me, how big is the landfill?
Well, it's spread out over an area of 220 hectares, but only 63 of that is really landfill, so just over a quarter, because you need to have a buffer zone around it.
Oh, okay. How deep is this? Is it piles of waste, or?
Well, you're allowed to dig about 2 to 3 meters into the ground. So you get started down about 2 to 3 meters below the land level, which is about 10 feet. And then you can pile it up to about 32 meters high, roughly 100 feet. So it's quite a bit of space that you have, and it's developed in cells. And so back in 1980, when the landfill opened, we opened what's called Cell 1, and that's how the landfill was developed, in cells. So Cell 1 is a certain area. We're now on to Cell 2 and currently preparing Cell 3, probably used in the next 5 to 10 years.
Wow. So what happens in the final stages?
So every day, believe it or not, you have to put on what's called a daily cover, 6 inches of material that will hold the waste down overnight so that it doesn't blow all around, right? And then each morning you can come in, you can skim off as much of that as you can get. And then what is called final cover. So once you've finished a cell and you're covering it off, it's 2 to 3 feet worth of material, again, to make sure everything stays down in the ground.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
And we've been using clay or wood chips or something like that.
I can only imagine that on a windy day you have litter blowing all over the place. How do you guys control that?
It's a pretty complex litter collection system because, things blow around. Things like plastic bags and stuff are really light. So up on the tipping face would be their first line of defense, and there's screens. Long metal screens that are on wheels so they can move them around and put them where they need them as they move around. And then beyond that, there's a fence down around the perimeter of the entire landfill, which would help catch some. And beyond that, because the prevailing wind's coming from a certain direction, there's an even higher fence where litter tends to blow to collect it there. Above that, we have people that collect it. So it does blow around and people go up and pick it up.
Well, thank you very much for the tour of the landfill.
You're
Dennis,
welcome.
where can somebody go to get more information?
Best bet is probably to check out the website, hamilton.ca/waste, or give us a call, 905-546-CITY.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Tracy.
For more information on Hamilton's landfills, check out the website. I'm Tracy Bizot, and you've been watching Daily Web TV.